I think one of the coolest things to happen in BMX over the last, I don't know, 5, 10 years is Dawn of the Streets. Austin Augie has done a phenomenal job, like taking that from just being an idea to a real thing. And I wish I could have been there. And I think a lot of you probably wish you could have been there too, or you were there. And I think if like you follow BMX at all, Dawn of the Streets is all you've been seeing, and that includes this. So I talked to Scott Marceau about his experience at Dawn of the Streets. So everything from tricks to the flow of the whole day to outside of that stuff with him and his life and photos. And it's always a treat talking to Scott. We had a special guest appearance from the Don himself, Brett Silva, and I'm working on getting a scheduled actual podcast with Brett done hopefully this week. But Scott was nice enough to chat with me for a bit and fill me in on what Dawn of the Streets was like, his favorite parts, all that. And I'd like to hear, actually, if you guys want to share your guys' favorite part of Dawn of the Streets in the comments, that would be pretty sweet. So yeah, this week on Kanode Knows, Scott Marceau. Before we get into it, make sure you like the video, share the show with a friend, and subscribe. And I think that covers it all. Life's good. I hope you have a wonderful week. And I'll see you at the end of this. Here's Scott Marceau.
Kanode Knows.
We're rolling, Scott Marceau. Round two, dude. Welcome back to the podcast, man.
Thanks for having me.
Those chops are looking phenomenal. The reason that I thought of doing this with you actually is because I saw at the end of somebody's Instagram post, like you're just in the crowd with your camera and your chops are looking glorious, and then best comment was like, "Look at those chops, dude."
Yeah, they're a little unkempt right now. I usually trim them once every 2 months, even once a month. But yeah, it's been a minute now, and it was definitely a topic of conversation with a lot of people.
It's a beautiful thing. What's the inspiration? How do you do it?
How do I do it? I shave the rest of my face and I leave the sideburns, and they just kind of take on a life of their own.
Really, truly progressive stuff we got going on over here. How have you been, and what's new since the last time that we did one of these? I feel like it's been a couple months at least.
Oh yeah, I think we spoke last in March, right? Does that sound right?
Yes, March 11th.
Yeah. Man, it's just been nonstop, riding, traveling, shooting. I went to South Korea with the Sunday team. That was amazing.
Dude.
Yeah. I never thought I'd go there, and I went, and it was just incredible. It was a different world, so foreign, but we had like the greatest tour guides. We had shred bikes. We had Tejo at Shred showing us around, just treating us like royalty. The whole scene there is so strong, and everyone's so respectful and just cool. It was just really, really like an unforgettable trip.
I bet. Like that's Handsome is the name of the video, and
yeah, it's funny because the kids there, like civilian kids, were like watching us ride at spots, and a few of them were like, "Oh, you're so handsome! You're so handsome!" We're like, "What? Like, do you mean to be saying that word?" I don't know if that's the right word, but yeah, we heard it a few times, so we just decided to run with that.
That's pretty cool. Especially, I like when a title comes from a little inside joke. I would have assumed it's something like that, but that's great.
Exactly.
What's something from that trip that didn't end up in the video but is worth sharing?
Well, we went to the demilitarized zone, which is like the area between North and South Korea that was sort of like neutralized during the war, or after the war rather, in the 50s. And we went down in these caves. Like the North Koreans were building these underground tunnels to try to do some surprise attacks on South Korea after the war. And South Korea caught wind of them doing this, so they started digging their own tunnel to like meet them halfway or something like that. And we went down into these caves. We weren't allowed to bring cameras or phones or anything, and it was I was actually just telling my family about how it was like the most claustrophobic I've ever felt in my life, and I'll never do anything underground like that again. I was almost panicking, and
wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. But that whole day we We like just like took a bus in. We had to bring our passports. They like really like kept an eye on everything we were doing, and it was so strange, but the whole place was just so eerie, and we we went up onto this like perch and like looked over into North Korea with these like long those like big binocular looking stand things, and
Yeah.
yeah, it was so crazy just to like look over there and to like imagine what's going on and what the people are up to, and I don't
For
know,
real, that's
there's
so crazy because like you hear about it your whole life, like North Korea, but then you got to look through lenses at it, and it's like a real thing. And you're in that, just picturing like the tension that's in the air in that demilitarized zone, knowing that one side versus the other side. It's pretty crazy to think about.
the funniest part is that like one of the last days we were there, North Korea was sending over bags of poop on balloons. They were like letting go of these balloons and like letting the wind take these bags of poop with like propaganda notes. Like it's actually something they've been doing for a few decades, but like they were sending balloons of poop or something
Oh,
over the border. And a few of my friends were DMing me like, "Do you catch any balloons?" I was like, "I didn't see any," but that's pretty crazy.
that is crazy, dude.
Yeah.
And
So yeah,
just like
their beef is alive and well.
you seen the pictures from space where you can see the lights in South Korea and then you see no lights in North Korea?
I
It's
haven't, but I can
it's wild
imagine.
to it's wild to look at.
Yeah, South Korea is very lively and festive, and
Hey, it's
yeah, I mean it's a really awesome city. Seoul. I never thought I'd ever be there, so it was awesome.
yeah. Still just been, or not just, not to downplay it, you've been full factory, full time?
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, I shoot the products, I shoot catalogs, I shoot all the action, any portraiture. I help out with video. Yeah, I do what I can, do some quality control in the warehouse sometimes, just cleaning up around the place. A little bit of everything keeps it
Nice.
interesting. But yeah, I'm with the brands Odyssey, Sunday, G Sport, Fairdale, and we distribute BSD. So once in a while, I'll do some BSD stuff.
What's the latest BSD thing you ever did?
Um, I filmed that guest list with Trent and LaShawn.
Nice.
Uh, yeah, that was like middle of summer. It was super hot, but we had Trent in town and he invited LaShawn over, so we did
That's
that.
cool.
It was a good one.
Yeah. And then like I guess just day to day, like that, like I get it, you're shooting photos and stuff, but like what, for example, I guess last week was special because of Dawn of the Streets, but what's an average day in the life for you? I think you said last time that it's remote mostly, but you pop in from time to time. Like
Yeah,
what?
depending on when shipments of products are coming in, I'll have to go into the office and I'll grab from the shelves whatever needs to be shot, and I'll take the stuff upstairs to the little photo studio, and I'll clean everything off, make it look good, set it up, shoot it a few different angles. I got to match like the old angles from the website, but if that angle isn't working, I kind of propose like a new angle to shoot a certain product at. So there's a little bit of freedom in that, but a lot of it is just sort of matching existing photos. I don't know who was in charge of shooting the photos before, but for the most part, it's pretty simple to do. Uh, and then I'll take those files home, or if I have time, I'll work on them there and just Photoshop, take out dust, touch up any scratches or anything that might be there from the manufacturing, put everything on a white background, or like include shadows if we want to include shadows for some parts. I'll export a few different sizes, like full size, full res for distributors or shops to check out in detail, and then like smaller ones to use on the website, even smaller ones to use on Instagram. Uh, so yeah, a lot of it. I think the most important stuff is the products that I shoot, and then secondary to that is sort of the action. But that's like what I love to shoot, just being out in the field, shooting
Yeah.
people riding, shooting the lifestyle, shooting the soft goods out in the field. Been doing a lot of that lately. Just having the guys wear the new stuff and shoot them in the nice light, doing their thing.
Yep.
I enjoy that. But yeah, and then just editing that stuff, and then if things slow down, I'll take on a video project. Like I'll help edit like a bike check here or there. I have the guest list series, which I'm in charge of, so that's always keeping me busy.
Who can we look forward to on the guest list?
Okay, I'm about to start working on one. I can't say exactly who. Well, I can't say the guest, but I can tell you that Santi was in town over the summer and he invited a good friend of his, and they ripped. It really, like, it was, given the time they had, his guest only had a couple hours, and they just made the most of it, and they went in. Like, it was very exciting. I think there's actually a good crash too, which is like kind of rare for the guest list. Yeah, it feels like a
Yeah.
lot of people don't really like go in, but man, they were ripping, and it's going to be a good one. I started looking for music, and it's going to be something pretty heavy and thrashy along the lines of Dennis and Garrett. It was,
Nice.
yeah, it's like these dudes can ride ramps, and you could tell that they were like feeling it. So
That's exciting. I'm trying to think of who
yeah,
Santi's friend is that he would invite.
you won't know.
I
No
won't know.
one, no one's gonna guess this one. But when it comes out, they're like, "Yo, like, I'm not forgetting this name."
Sick. I
Yeah,
like the sound of that. And then just to comment on it, like it's interesting for me to hear all of the little things that go into being a photographer for a company, like the full res, full large size for distributors versus the small export for social media, and all the little changes that have to happen. Like I learned that just working on ads, like for an e-com company, and like I make one ad, but I'm not done. Then you have to make a vertical version of it, a square version of it, a 30-second, a 15, a minute, and it's a lot. The media is a real job.
yeah, a lot of deliverables.
Deliverables.
Shout out Benthian.
Shout out Benthian. Um, Anything else big between Korea trip and then this past weekend for Dawn of the Streets?
Another big trip we had was Ventura. Right after X Games, we had a bunch of the Odyssey guys in town. Santi was there, as I said. Boyd was in town from Australia, and we had Preston. We had who else was there? Preston. Nordstrom, was Nordstrom there? Yeah, I'm pretty sure Nordstrom. God, it's been such a blur this year, but we had a bunch of the Odyssey guys around Ventura, which is just like an hour and a half north of LA. And we posted up there. We went up to Santa Barbara one day. We did Slow, San Luis Obispo. We did like Fillmore, just like these little farm towns that have like nice skate parks or like a ditch spot here or there. And it was really exciting. A lot of the Odyssey guys are just good, like go fast, big air guys, which is really exciting to shoot.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
yeah, we got a lot of good media, a lot of good content from that trip. And then
Is a video out from that?
no, well, it's not it wasn't a trip video. We're working on a bigger Odyssey project, and so everything was sort of directed to that. We're going to be putting out a smaller precursor to the Odyssey project in December or January. So some of the footage that's not going to make the final cut will be in there. Johnny Rakes was there too.
Sick.
Yeah, he's
That's
great.
exciting knowing you guys are working on something big. That's
Oh
pretty cool.
yeah, yeah, it's a big one.
I think it's such a cool I don't know. I think it's a good strategy, regardless of like how people make the argument of like the DVD is dead or whatever. Just knowing that a brand is putting like high effort into something and taking its time, like Fiend, like whatever Fiend video is going to come out, like the excitement has been building for ages. So it's good. So
Yeah.
that's really exciting because Odyssey's fucking legendary, dude. Like I remember the 2000 shit. When did the Odyssey video come out? 2001 or 2 or 3 or something?
Odyssey video, self-titled. Right around
With like Gary
Y2K, dude.
Young.
Yeah. Jim Lee Van, like just legend. Adam Banton.
Yeah, Odyssey. Looking at BMX movie database.
Shout out that website.
Yeah, for real.
I tried to, so I was in touch with the guy who ran that website, and
Yeah,
I asked him to let me be an admin and to like add info and stuff. And I feel like I was able to at some point, and then a few weeks later I lost touch with him, and I wasn't able to log back in or something. But I love the information on that site.
for real.
It's so
important.
useful.
Yeah. He's doing the
Yeah.
Lord's work over there. Shout out BMX movie database. And then also shout out Snakebite. Every time I'm looking for an old video, Shad's
Oh,
channel
nice.
has it. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's carrying the torch too. Yeah, shout out REA, who works
Yeah.
closely with Shad. You know REA?
Yep.
Oh, he's the sickest, man. We did a trip last month up to Washington State. We actually stayed in Idaho, right outside of Pullman, Washington. And REA drove in from Portland, and it's just he's so cool to ride with. He's got such a good eye for setups. He's got such classic looking tricks. He does cool tricks properly. He's just like a little punk rocker kid. He's like really like a refreshing rider
Yeah.
to ride with.
I've said it before. It's just like we're in good hands if REA is the future of BMX, you know? That's pretty
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah. He's great.
So what goes into, because I mean, you went to Dawn of the Streets almost in like an official work capacity. What was it like for you? Like what all goes into planning something like that for a proper brand like Odyssey and Sunday?
Well, we had more of a it was more Sunday oriented for us because a few of the Odyssey guys were already sort of there with their other sponsors. A couple of our guys couldn't make it. Brock's been hurt for a little bit, so it was definitely a Sunday trip with like Nordstrom stayed at our place, and we brought Diego. Of course, we brought Brett. We brought Julian and Jared, and we had Adrian Varela, who are you familiar with Adrian?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a sick young ripper. But we basically, I mean, we did the same thing 2 years ago where we brought the Sunday guys and just did our thing for the weekend, a long weekend, and then on that Saturday they all did their thing in the jam, and I was just ready to shoot an event, you know, all day, just behind the lens, trying to get the good angles. Everyone's fighting for the same good angle sometimes,
Yeah,
you
I
know.
bet. It looks like so much chaos at each spot.
Dude, this past one was just out of control. Like there were over 1,000 people there, and they were just crowding the streets. There, dude, I got punched in the rib by a pedestrian. Like
What?
not hard. Let me tell you the story. We were pedaling down Second Avenue, like just a huge mass of people, and I was towards the back because it's always kind of dangerous to be like in a big pack of kids that are just like set loose in the streets. You know, like
Yeah.
they'll just like weaving, bobbing, hopping, kicking pegs and shit. I don't know. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna hang back for a little bit. So we were in the back, like 5%, maybe even the last 3% of the crew. And this guy was trying to cross the street, and he hadn't been able to cross in like, I don't know, like maybe 90, 120 seconds because there was just a constant flow of kids coming through. And so I'm shooting this one kid doing a surfer on his bike, and he's crossing. We're probably at like 60th Street heading south. And I'm shooting this kid doing a surfer, and he's about to like thread through this group of people crossing the street. And I think I got a really good photo of like the dude who ended up punching me, like giving this kid the finger as he's surfing in front of him. And I shoot it, and then I look up from my camera, and he's swinging at me, and he hits me right in the rib, like right under
Damn.
my arm, like not hard. Like I said, like if he would have hit me hard, I would have raised an issue. But like he kind of like just like tagged me. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, did that just happen? And like someone, I think I was with Mayo. I was with Dr. Bonus Grind, and he's like, dude, did that guy just hit you? I was like, what the fuck? So I turned around. I was yelling at him, like, I'm like, yo, what the fuck? I was like, you want to square up or something? I was like, kind of just like, just get heckling him, and he just kept walking, and he kind of looked back once, and I just called him some names that were like really loud. Everyone around was like, what the hell's going on?
Why is Scott so mad?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should have been more mad. Maybe I should have been less mad. But I was just like, that was kind of weird. But yeah, if I was hurt, I probably would have given him some time, but I kind of just like yelled at him a little bit and turned around. I hope that photo comes out too, though, because
For
it
real.
was a really funny situation.
And when you say you hope it comes out, it wasn't digital then. It was on film, yeah?
No, yeah, I had a point and shoot in my pocket, and then I had a Foley Auto point and shoot around my neck, just so I can like pedal safely and then also shoot and not have to like set the focus or the aperture or anything. So
Smart. Yeah.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
damn, the quick draw McGraw. You got full auto right here, and then you got your proper film camera down here. And then
Yeah,
the,
so
the backpack with the actual digital setup with did you do that? Did you bring like the whole setup for the jam?
well, I didn't bring flashes. I knew I wasn't going to be setting up light stands with flashes. So I left the flashes and the light stands at home, and I brought just my core like camera body, fisheye, 2470 zoom, 7200 zoom, and I did have a speed light that I could use like holding in one hand and then like shooting, you
Nice.
know.
Yeah.
So it was definitely dialed down, but I brought like the essentials.
That's sick. This is a Grok-generated ad for Dance Comp. Hey, BMX freaks. You think you've seen the best deals? Think again, you crazy bastards. Dance Comp is dropping a code so hot it'll make your wallet do a backflip. Cha-ching. Slap in Kanode at checkout and watch your savings skyrocket. It's like finding the key to the ultimate piggy bank, you lucky dogs. Every click on Dance Comp is your ticket to BMX glory. You could be riding the latest and greatest, or you could be cruising on last year's leftovers, you poured sod. Sod. So hit up Dance Comp for gear that's tight. Use Kanode as a code and get 15% off and you'll shine so bright. Dance Comp, where savings are real and your ride's gonna make everyone kneel. You savvy mother... Wow, it's cussing at me. All right, that's the ad. Go to dancecomp.com and use code Kanode. Welcome to Phoenix, where the sun blazes and the bikes, well, they ride like they're on fire. You're cruising down 43rd Avenue thinking, I need a bike shop that's as rad as my tricks. Look no further than Unity Ride Shop, where bikes don't just ride, they party. At Unity Ride Shop off of Bethany Home and 43rd Avenue, we're not just selling bikes, we're sponsoring the local legends who make BMX look easy. Got a flat? We've got you. Need a new frame? We've got the hookup. Want to join a community that eats, sleeps, and breathes BMX and biking? You've found your crew. We're so active in the bike scene, our tires are made from the rubber of community spirit. Unity Ride Shop, where your bike isn't just a ride, it's your ticket to the coolest club in town. Drop by, say hi, and let's make some wheelie good memories. Unity Ride Shop, because every ride should feel like you're part of something bigger. See you on 43rd Ave and Bethany Home at Unity Ride Shop, where the bikes are hot and the scene's even hotter. Okay, good. That's a good ad. Welcome to burnslow.co, where BMX legends don't just ride, they redefine cool. We're not just clothing, we're an attitude. Jackets tougher, we're an attitude is ridiculous. Jackets tougher than your dad's leather, and shirts so exclusive they're practically a second skin for your swagger. Our media, it's like if Tarantino made a BMX movie but with less feet and more style. Think of it as the soundtrack to your most epic bike ride, making your neighbors think you're running an underground bike club. Sounds of BMX bike jumping. So, if you want to dress like you've been knighted by the BMX gods or watch content that screams legend, hit up burnslow.co, because why just ride when you can reign? And end with a cool bike bell ring and a fading echo of burnslow.co. All right, thanks. Back to the show. Big news, dude. I got my first film camera, and then I shot the whole first roll, and it's just sitting there. I got to go get it developed. But I was like, what do I even do? Do I go to Walgreens? Where do you get your shit developed? Do
Are
you
you
send
sure
it
that?
off?
No. There's a few local labs in LA. Are you sure it works though? Like you might have a blank roll on your hands.
Possibly. I don't know.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll see once I try to get it developed.
Yeah, I had been going to the same mom and pop film lab since I moved to LA, which is coming up on exactly 10 years. And recently they just been sort of like touching the film with their bare hands, like scratching some stuff. And I went in and like I haven't told my mom this, but I was in Canada with my family over the summer, and I had shot this really nice portrait of my mom in front of the Queen Elizabeth or Queen Mary 2. This cruise boat just came in like overnight, and we were all just sort of like marveling over this huge cruise boat that just like came into port. We were in Halifax, Nova Scotia, really cool place. And I had my mom just sort of pose in front of it, and it was the last frame on the roll, and the lab had cut it in half. Like they weren't really paying attention to like where like the photos end and like where you know how like
Yeah.
when you're developing you cut the roll to get the canister off of it, but they had cut like right through the frame. And
That's careless.
I could have. I mean, it didn't ruin the photo. I can crop it square. It looks like I cropped it square, but I was just like, hey guys, listen, like you usually don't do this like shoddy of work, but like you cut right through this last frame. And she like grabs the film like with her bare hands. She's like, oh, I'm like, stop. I'm like, just get your hands off the film. She's like, oh no, my hand's not dirty. I was like, I don't care. I like had to like breathe really quick. I'm like, just stop, just roll the film back up and it's fine. I'm leaving. And I haven't gone back since, but I do have like 7 or 8. Well, after this weekend, I probably have like 12 rolls to get developed. So I'm not sure if I'm going to go back to them or try a new lab.
Huh. So I just find a local, I just type in film development or local camera lab.
I'm sure there's a good place in Phoenix.
There is the iconic Tempe camera.
There you go.
I'm pretty confident that they offer that. But I also thought like I could take it into Walgreens legitimately.
Well, no, I
You ever done
think
that?
some of them, yeah. I mean, I had a CVS in my town that would have the 1 hour machine, but a lot of the drugstores these days have to send it to a bigger store that has the machine.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
fuck
then
it.
if you want to, unless you have a scanner, you'll have to have them scan them and digitize them too. So that adds a
What
cost.
a nightmare just to have cool looking photos. Film is
Well,
a nightmare.
the thing like I did switch to digital point and shoot when I first moved to LA, and then I had a hard drive crash, so I lost a lot of those photos. And
That's yeah, that's valid.
then the camera itself started crapping out, and I was like, I'm back to square one, dude. Like what?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's an archival thing. It's to
Yeah,
be able to have the negatives as the complete backup. That's always a good safety net to have.
for real.
And then just the durability of the camera. Like there's no LCD. Like I've had a few digital point and shoots where the LCD just stops working. And that's pretty much like the heart of a digital point and shoot, is to be able to like see what you just
Right.
shot.
The one time that it like worked in my favor was filming for the first Mediocre. My hard drive got stolen off my or out of a Greyhound bus. Like my whole backpack got
I
jacked.
remember the story.
Yeah. And then I
Yeah.
had to go through, but at least I had all the tapes. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Let's see, but Brett wins again, right? Did he win last year or
He
the year
did. Well,
before?
yeah, the last year that it happened, which was 22, he did win.
Yeah. And then who before that? Clausen?
Brock won 21,
I
and
remember
then
Clausen winning. Clausen won
Clausen
one.
won must have been the
2019 or
first
18.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, 19 or 20. I bet there wasn't one in 20, but I think
Yeah.
19 was maybe the first one. I didn't
Yeah,
make it to that
that
one,
makes
but Clausen did win.
what a bunch of gangsters, dude. That's awesome. Was
Clausen
it kind of
Clausen
like undeniable this time? Like when the day was over before they announced 2-1, was it obvious that it was going to be Brett?
Well, okay, so Clausen was a strong contender.
The
In my
half cap,
opinion,
dude. The
yes,
strength of that half cap.
that 180. Well, okay, so it was a double set. The first set was like a smaller set. He 180 that, and then half cab the big set, right? 'Cause I was
Yeah,
there and I kind of missed it, but that's crazy.
super
That
crazy.
and some of the other stuff. He almost G turned down Blubba, and
Damn.
that would have been crazy. He worked on it for a minute, and then
Damn, I want to see that. That's fucking
throughout the day, it was him, it was Max Miller, who was also ripping very hard. You could
Yep.
tell he really wanted it, and I was hyped to see that. And then Nathan Williams was doing really well, and he kind of faded out at some point. Same with Joe Jarvis. Joe Jarvis was really ripping at first, and he must have gotten hurt because I saw him later in the day and he was limping, but I thought he wanted it too.
Huh.
Yeah, at the first spot, it was Jarvis, it was Nate, it was Brett. Diego Tire Road down that
Yeah,
rail.
that
It
was
was
a
pretty
nasty
sick.
looking one.
Jarice was working on some stuff. And then the second spot, the rail, a lot of people were doing some sick up rail stuff. And then a few people were doing some sick down rail stuff. Clausen, I think Clausen must have shown up. I don't remember Clausen at the first spot, or do I? But Clausen did a manual down the rail at second spot, and I knew
Yeah.
that he was in it. And he kept riding almost every spot. It was just that subway gap where, as far as I remember, it was crazy because there were just 1,000 kids blocking this major intersection in Midtown Manhattan. And the only people, it's the one where they move the car.
Right.
Did you see that? That was
Yeah.
sick.
And like it looked like you had to hop over
It
like
was
a
a
rail to and then
tall
gap.
hop and then a gap. And the
Sheesh.
first the first person I saw try it was Max Miller, and he ate shit. And then the second person was Brett, and he tabled it just so clean. And then the police came and everyone had to leave. So like that was like a big separator from
I
from
bet.
like the first and second place people.
Yeah.
And then Brett did ride every single spot without fail, and people were hyped on what he was doing. And he was just, yeah, he's just a strong rider. He had a good attitude. He was focused. He was wearing like that flame skull cap
Yeah.
bandana. I don't, yeah, he had the right attitude. He has the charisma, and people love to watch him ride. And yeah, at the end of the event, like we all went up and talked to Augie, and I was like, so what do you think? He just goes, it's Brett. I was like, okay, sure. I was like,
Nice.
should we even talk about second place? He's like, no, I mean, there is no second place. The winner gets the full purse. I was like, all right, it's Brett. Hell yeah. And
Let's go.
yeah, I
Good for
couldn't
Brett, dude.
argue. Yeah.
Do I just need to answer my phone? Speaking of Brett, I said, let's get him in here. What do you think?
He says he's free right now.
Yeah, let's.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pause, and we'll be back with the winner of Dawn of the Streets.
Nice.
And we're back with the 2024 Dawn of the Streets, the one and only Brett Silva. Welcome to the podcast, brother.
What up?
What up? What up?
Hey.
What's up, man? Congrats.
I can't hear it. I don't think it's working.
Can't hear me?
I don't think it's working.
Okay, I like your ring. Is that the ring?
I think that's his jade ring. That's his wedding band.
Wait, so can you hear me?
I can't hear anything.
We'll be right back with the Dawn of the Streets. Let's just continue.
He'll figure it out. Maybe
we'll figure it out. Technical difficulties, but at least we got to see him. You know, he's got a very aesthetic kitchen. That curtain looked cool.
He and his wife just got a house in South Austin. I always forget what he tells me, but they got a nice house. They have a pool and everything. He's really hyped. He's got his dialed garage. He's really excited about it.
That's amazing. That's good for him, dude. He deserves the best. Nothing but the best for Brett. Well, where were we? We were talking about him becoming the winner. What was like the highlight of the trip for you personally?
Well, personally, I think it was the photo show the night before. I was invited to show photos with Delecki, with Augie, with Greg Molinterno, with Wes at this small gallery in Red Hook, Brooklyn, the night before the Dawn event.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah, I spent a couple weeks going through an old hard drive and picking out my favorite New York photos. It was like a New York centric show, and Delecki showed a lot of like Y2K, early animal stuff, which was awesome to see.
Yeah,
and it looked great. Awesome. Wes showed a bunch of stuff from the past Dawn events and the Dig House, I guess. Yeah, the Dig House they did a few years ago. Greg had some black and white prints. He had them framed, just some classic New York looking stuff, and then Augie had some street stuff he shot, I think during the Dawn events, sort of just like civilian passing by, and some like lifestyle stuff. So there's this one photo of Matt Miller bleeding from the face. It was pretty cool. And but yeah, it was all New York based, and so I got to go through my archives and find my favorite stuff from 2005 to 2014, and it was a trip, just like going through all that stuff in itself, and it was cool to look back on my work and sort of like appreciate it, but also critique it, you know, and see where I can learn from it.
Is any of that going to be like, is there an online gallery with all that for the rest of us folks?
You know, I am going to share mine. I don't know if Dig wants to do a digital version. I could reach out to Wes and have them do it. It'd be really cool because Delecki's photos are just like so classic, like classic Roan, classic Worms, classic Ed, some newer ish, like some Hoder, like 2010 Hoder, like just buck stuff that Hoder was doing back in those days. And
sick.
Yeah, I should definitely reach out, but yeah, I will share mine pretty soon. I do have a couple. Well, I do have some prints I can still sell. So I got a peeing in public ticket in New York, so I want to be able to pay that off with the sales. I had to tell my mom about that. She just heard it and looked at me
in front of the mom. That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh man,
it happens.
Yeah, that would be very exciting to get online a glimpse at it, especially Delecki's, because like that stuff.
Yeah.
It's like in magazines. I guess I'm sure you could find some of it online, but that would be cool to have it all in one place. It's very cool.
One. Yeah, it was really cool to see it all in one place. I recognized most of them from like a Dig issue here or there, or like some sort of animal ad or whatever. But to see them all at once, like it's crazy because Delecki had to print his out 3 different times. The first time he printed them out, he framed them, he shipped them to the gallery, they got sent back. He couldn't get to them in time, so we got them reprinted, went to pick them up at the lab. The lab was closed. So he had to send the files to Augie the day of the show, and Augie had to print them himself. And they still looked amazing. Like, it's crazy that they came out so clean. But yeah, he has triple copies of everything that he printed. So I'm trying to get my hands on at least one of those.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the other piece, is like just selling. Yeah, I would buy something real special.
Yeah. Yes.
I think about, because I talked to Kareem on the phone, and he told me about his trip, and I was just like, dude, that sounds crazy and awesome. And then I think about, it's fun because like Kareem's in party land, and then I think about Scott in very much not party land. So the contrast is interesting to me. Was there any loose nights that you just got to witness?
Oh yeah, the whole day of the event, people were getting loose, a lot of drinking, a lot of raging, just screaming. But at night, like when everyone met up in Greenpoint, it was like we were in front of a pizza shop, a bodega, and then across the street was the bar. And we kind of just had like the whole sidewalk flooded, and like the intersection was like pretty sketchy. Like it was just like a scene. It was definitely a scene. The police showed up a couple times, like wondering what was going on. They didn't really do much about it, but it was, yeah. I left at a reasonable hour. I think I left the venue at like 11 maybe. Nice. And but a lot of people stayed and shut down the place at 4 o'clock. So I'm not much for the party scene anymore, but that felt like a party of a whole day, honestly. Yeah, it was a good time.
So fun. Like I was thinking about it, and I'm not sure how it would have gone if I went to that. Like for me, it's either like I'm very boring, let's go to bed at 10, or if I'm just gonna say fuck it and do it, I might be out until 4:30 with everybody. So I guess we'll never know, but that's good on you for holding it down and getting some sleep.
Yeah, I knew I was still on the clock. I knew we were going out the next day. I had gotten not great sleep the night before anyways, so in a way I was still running on fumes, but I was able to suppress the FOMO and sort of just like dip out. I left with the team. We all left at the same time, so I knew that there weren't any more photos to get of Brett celebrating. The whole team was kind of agreed that, okay, like we're done here, but there were a lot of people still like popping off, having a good time. And it's like, man, like I wish I could stay and like see everything that happens, but that's just not my life anymore.
Yeah. Isn't that something? We're on the other side of that, dude. It's cool to think back to like, yeah, we did that, but I truly am on the side, like really, of just, all right, we're done here. Let's go home. And it would be a lot easier if like you're with a team. There's some teams where it's like the riders are like, nah, we got to stay. We got to party. But it seems like you got a good squad of, responsible gentlemen on the team.
100%. Brett himself is almost 5 years sober, I think.
Yeah.
So he definitely is focused. And I think that really helped him for this event and all events. The last time too, he got good sleep as well as he could. He was eating healthy. He was focused. He was motivated. It seemed like a lot of the guys sort of just kind of sent it. Brett had a plan. He was like very like self-supportive. He had like a mantra. He was talking to Jared beforehand, and they were sort of just like pumping each other up. Like he was serious. Like he was serious. Like it's funny because Brett's such like a laid back and playful guy a lot of the times, and so it's hard to tell if he's like really wanted to take it or not. And I talked to Jared the morning of, we were at Mullally, and he's like, Jared, like, he's like, dude, he wants it. Like they went in the corner and like had like a pep talk. I was like, oh, that's so cool, because I couldn't tell if Brett like was just sort of like half jokingly like, yeah, I'm gonna win. But like he went aside. He's like, dude, he's like, I want this. Like I want to win this. And it makes me so much happier for him to know that like he knew what he wanted and he went for it and he got it. And so
no distraction.
He just went all in. Yeah.
It's really cool. Cause like, I think the whole attitude is like, dude, don't take shit so serious in BMX, but it's like, if there ever is anything to take serious, it's this, this is pretty, and he does a really good job of like, he's taking it seriously, obviously, but he's not looking like he's taking it that serious. He's joking around on camera and wearing the the flaming bandana, which is hilarious.
He definitely he bridges the gap between like a serious, like no bullshit rider, and then like a lighthearted, like happy-go-lucky guy who's just like feeding off the energy. Like I mean, he was talking, he was making jokes, you know, he was like laughing, high-fiving. He wasn't like headphones on, like
Right.
blinders, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
but like
yeah.
you could tell that like he was like he'd love to sit and chat with everyone. He's like, "Yo, I got to go do this trick." You know, like I'm trying to ride. Like I'll talk to you afterwards, but like I want to do this. And so it was really cool to see him. And like I said, the fact that he rode every single spot, like you can't like Clausen. Like I said, I think he showed up late. I don't want to keep saying that though because I'm not sure. But like Brett rode every single spot from the first to the last.
Yep.
And at the Banks rail when he did that ice to gap on the
Yeah.
top of the rail, it was just like pandemonium. Everyone was just like, what did he just do? And how is he still going at this
Yeah.
point? You know? But so yeah, he earned it. He earned it 100%. And like I said, like Augie said, it's unanimous. It's Brett. I was like, all right, let's do it. And
That's amazing.
yeah, it was really awesome. Really
What were your
awesome.
thoughts on like how it all came together? How Austin did with you know, sponsors and the spots and all the logistics of it? How did it go?
I'll tell you, I'll preface this by saying that the 22 event was kind of a shit show. And there was one point at 22 when we pedaled probably like 4.5 to 5 miles without touching a spot at all. I think it was from like Con Ed Banks and Astoria all the way up to like Upper West Side. It was something crazy like that. And everyone was just like, where are we going? And people were falling off. People were stopping for water. Like it was messy. And that was definitely something people talked about afterwards. And so I talked to Austin couple times before and I was like, are you like, do you have everything like lined up? Like, are you sure everything's gonna work out? What if we get the boot? What if this and that and the third happens? He's like, yeah. He's like, I think we're pretty good. And turns out it was great, dude. Like there wasn't too much like that one stretch where I got punched in the ribs. Like that was the one long patch of pedaling from East Harlem. It's like 1/10 down to like 30 something, I think. It was a pretty good pedal, but like it was fun. People are being loud, people are doing wheelies, you know, it's just like excited kids, you know, flying down the
you
street.
just can ride on the energy, you know?
Yeah. And then from there, once we got to Midtown, it was like spot. We got down to East Village, it was spot here, spot there. And then we got down towards Blubba, City Hall, and the Banks, and it was 3 like great spots back to back to back. So it all panned out really well. Like the police came to a few spots. We had to leave that East Harlem spot kind of early, but people were dying. Like it was, and on that note, like there were people getting hurt, sure, but like it wasn't kids. Like at the 22 event, at the first spot, a kid broke his leg, ambulance came. At the second spot, kid crashed, bad, ambulance came. And then at one of the last spots, kid crashed horrible, and ambulance came. It was like, dude, like we can't be doing this, you know? And so for this year, they had Steve-O on the mic, and they had Augie like sort of bouncing kids like, yo, like, hey, no offense, like, but it looks like you're not sure what you're doing. Like you should stop. And I watched that, and I kind of felt for the one kid, because the kid, he really wanted to ride, but like he didn't look like he should be riding the spot. And so he was like looking at him sideways. I'm like, dude, I was like, yeah, no, that was a good call, because like there's dudes that want to do serious stuff, and like there's just kids that are just like, oh man, I love this energy, I'm gonna try this thing I've never tried before. It's like, no, please don't.
That's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah,
I thought that was smart when he put that out, saying that there's going to be like spot guards.
Yep.
Did it become like there's spot guards? I fantasized about showing up in like some reflector jersey and fucking putting my hand on people's chests, but
no, it wasn't as severe as I pictured it was going to be either. It was only maybe 3 times where like Steve-O was like, just like approach the kid like, yo, stop, like you're out of here, you're done. And then Austin be like, hey, sorry, but this, you know, sorry, but you need to stop. And for the most part, like 2 of the 3 kids were like pretty understanding, but there was one kid that kept trying. And I was like, dude, like, please stop. Like you're ruining everyone else's time. Like you're taking up these precious tries. Like people are trying some serious stuff, and like you're just kind of getting in the way. But that's not my call to make. Although I feel like I could have done that, like been a bouncer pretty easily. I think I can level with these kids like, hey man, we love having you here, man. You're doing great. But we've got some serious stuff going on. So if you'd please just get off your bike, we'd all enjoy that.
So you said that serious stuff is going down. What do you think? What's the trick from the day that took the most work from someone?
Well, Jarvis at the first spot did that whiplash off the block.
Yeah, dude, that one crash looked crazy. He just
Yeah,
credit
he got
carded his
sent.
tire. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty funny to see. But he got that eventually. I'm sure he would have liked to clean it up afterwards, but it's a jam. We all had to move on. At the up rail, people were doing some pretty big up rail things. Garrett was working on some, and Felix did this crazy 360 hard whip, and he did like this crazy 360 turn down. Like it was a wild up rail event. Clausen manualed it. Marcel also manualed it. Trying to remember what else happened at the third spot. Max Miller ate shit. He actually ran into someone's camera, and he had like a lens hood like scar like around his eye. It was so crazy. And
And how much spot, real quick, how much time is spent at each spot? Like when you're going through this, like an hour?
No. There were a lot of spots to get to. I'd say 30 minutes max. The second rail was where we spent the most time, I want to say. Like at first it was an up rail, or no, at first it was a down rail jam, and then everyone's like, all right, we're going up the rail now. So then it was an up rail jam, and then everyone was kind of slow to leave. People were like, everyone was starting to show up. It was probably about 1 o'clock, and everyone was piling into this one playground. And then we pedaled to East Harlem, and we didn't get much time in East Harlem at all. That 3 flat 4 whatever rail, like an out rail more or less. We didn't get much time there at all, unfortunately, but a lot of cool shit happened. Jack Henneke was working on feeble hop up Manny to 180 off like the small part of the down rail. That would have been really sick to see. Chris Child came through fast doing like over 2 thick, and then Brett did the wall ride in the wall ride 180. There was a lot of cool shit going on. I think Nathan did like Manny 180 on the flat part. But it would have kept popping off there if we didn't get kicked out. And then we headed down towards Midtown, and that gap was really quick. The subway gap was quick. Like I said, it was Max, and then it was Brett, and Brett's the only one to get something. We went to that gap over the stairs, and Chad, I think Chad hit his nuts real hard or something like that. All I could see from that spot was people going through the air. There's so many. It was the hardest spot to shoot.
Were you talking about the 4 block?
No. It's like a set of like 5 stairs, and it cuts 90 degrees to the right, and then it goes down. So you go straight out over the rail.
Okay. Yeah.
And Nate did like Oppo 180. There were a few bar spins. Brett T-bogged it, and then Chad went to whip it, and I think he hit his nuts real bad. People were like cheering for him to get up. Like I thought it was going to be a lot worse.
Yeah, and then he tried it again, but it didn't work out.
Okay, sure.
I think I saw 2 attempts. I could be wrong.
That sounds right. But yeah, I got like one good photo, and I got like one photo, and it wasn't good, but like that spot especially was super hard to shoot.
It's a fucking monster gap too. Like just seeing people session it, I'm like, dude, that is huge.
Yeah, it's crazy, like the amount of progression that happens within like a half hour of a bunch of people like going in, like competing. Yeah, it's really cool to see.
So from there, where next, or is that it?
No, Midtown, and then we headed down to East Village. God, my memory is so shot, dude. But we ended up at this big rail hop in the East Village, and the only people to ride it were Brett, Nathan, Garrett, and Chris Childs. And Chris jumped it. Brett T-bogged it. Brett did like a late X up over it. I only remember this because I have the photo of him. He like hops, like he's clearing it, and then after he clears it, he does the X up. And I'm like, how is this photo isn't usable? It looks like he's just like doing an X up in front of a rail hop. But the T-bog photo came out pretty good. Nathan 180'd it. I'm not even sure if he landed it. And then Garrett bar spun it, I'm pretty sure. It was a tall rail hop, and it was like big off the ground too. So only a few people got to ride it. And then from there, we went down to all the way to Blubba. Is that right? And then Blubba popped off. Yeah. Some cool stuff happened there.
Yeah,
And
what's your
then the
favorite
court,
from Blubba? That's always the most interesting spot to me because it's so unique. It's
yeah, it's a
a
low,
very interesting
wide
spot.
hubba.
Yeah.
I tried to talk Brett into 360ing onto it, which like sort of was like an impulse thought because he came up to me and he's like, I don't know what to do. Do I need to do more? Do I need to do more? And I was like, I could tell, like, because it was towards the end of the day. And I
Yeah.
think he was feeling the pressure because Clausen was trying that G turn for like the whole time we were there. And he's like, do I need to do more? And I'm like, I wonder like what he means. Does he need to do more? Like he really wants to win this event. So like I was like, I don't know. Like, can you 3 onto it? And he's like, I don't know. I was like, well, I don't know either, but I don't think you need to do any more.
Yeah.
But
Now that you say that, I think like a 360, like I think he spins to the left. So you would
yeah,
approach it as if you're gonna grind on the left, but
yep,
you just spin and then
270 sort of.
360 to
Yeah,
feeble.
something
What is
like
the
that.
coolest thing that you've seen on that spot ever? The G turn sounds insane.
Yeah, well,
Clausen did the backlash.
backlash. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's honestly, I think that's my favorite thing from Blubba ever because that's just so buck. And Clausen is just like that's a trick, especially on that setup where you have to commit or else it's going to be bad. And
Yeah.
Clausen's done some of the craziest backlash that I remember one Instagram clip where he backlashed like a flat rail
Yeah.
at a
I
skate
can
park,
see it.
dude.
Right. Yeah. Almost I
That
think
is
alley-oop too.
Yes,
Yeah.
deadly, dude, deadly. He's such a savage, man. I love
Mhm.
watching him ride. I especially am hyped to see a video part from him,
Fuck yeah, me too.
as soon as they're
Fiend.
ready. Yep,
Yeah, Clausen's always been incredible at jams. He's incredible all around, but like in particular, he goes in at jams, and
yep.
it's really fun to see.
And he
He's like
throws I
killed
remember
every
he's
street fighter out here in Phoenix. You see him
yep.
at the Monster Jams in LA, and then you see him win Dawn of the Streets. Like the
And
guy
he
don't
and
stop.
he was throwing his own jam, the organized crime jam in Vegas there. That was
Yeah,
very cool. Yeah, he's just the man. I really do like Clausen. And yeah, for some reason I always kind of forget about him. Maybe because it's Vegas, it's just sort of like off the beaten path, but
that might be it. Yeah,
yeah, he's fucking sick, man. He's savage, and
we got
he's
that
got a.
big discrimination.
Sorry to Clausen and Papa Bison and Mills, but we see them. It's just that yeah, Vegas has never seemed like a real place to me. It's like an adult playground.
uh, cool. Where do we go from there? Blubba, what was the actual last spot? I think I cut you off.
The Banks rail, but right after Blubba was the courthouse, the drop off. You come on from the side and it's a platform, and then you drop into the
Yeah,
bank, and then the bank
yeah.
drops even more. Nordstrom came out of the woodwork, didn't do a single trick the whole day, as far as I could tell, and he did whip to Manny to bar spin into the bank, and then he crank flipped off the drop.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, unbelievable. But he's
How
just
tall are we talking to get on? Because a whip to Manny is pretty crazy.
it's probably a little under front wheel height.
That's wild,
It's
dude. He's
it's
so
not
good.
super low, yeah, but that's his trick.
Yeah.
Never forget his clip in F It All, where he did like whip to Manny to like whip Manny bar, or what was it? Fuck, now I forget. That's
I
embarrassing.
don't know. Let's watch his F it all part.
It's towards the end. It might be last clip, but it's like a wooden Manny pad in Philly, if I'm not mistaken. And he does whip to Manny to bar, or
Yeah, I think yeah. Let's go. Here we are. Let's see. We shall share our screen.
yeah, but he came out of nowhere, and he like you saw him doing the whip to Manny, and he got it, and all at once he did whip Manny, and then he threw the bar. Yeah, here we go. This is some wizard shit, man. This is king.
Truly, he can do. It's like watching a video game. Just like, oh, it's like that.
Okay, here
Bar
we go.
Manny,
Yeah,
whip
whip
Manny.
Manny. Okay,
Bar.
there we go. Yeah, still, yeah, that's psycho
Manual
shit.
whip manual is
And
pretty crazy. You don't see that.
yeah. So
Pretty good, brother.
he is a video game writer, and he picks and chooses what he's doing, and especially at a jam, he kind of played it smart. It was chaos. There were some collisions, which is always scary and unfortunate at jams, but that's just like that's part of the jam format,
For
It's
real.
people want to go. People want to go before other people. People are trying the same trick, so they're racing to it,
Yep.
So
And then the landing is always like super crowded. Like people are so close. And like honestly, watching dudes stop from full speed and avoid hitting people is almost as impressive as the trick sometimes. Like everybody
yeah,
with the bike control to do all that skid stuff. I'm just like, damn, that because that
I
takes practice, dude. I remember do you
yeah.
remember the first time you saw somebody do a stylish like stop skid and then you go do it yourself and you're like, oh, that's hard. Like,
Yeah, you got to work on something like that. I did see a spectator take handlebars to the ribs though. Like
ugh.
bad. Like they definitely got some wind knocked out of them, and I thought, "Wow, like this is going to be one of those." Oh, a dude's camera got knocked right out of his hands next to me at the first spot.
Yikes.
First spot, yeah, and that's when I kind of like it was a big wake up call. I was like, "Okay, I got to stay on my toes. I got to wrap my camera strap around my wrist twice, and I gotta like it's just
Lock
it
in.
was chaotic. It was
I had
chaotic.
all these ideas that I was gonna go, I was gonna live stream it, and like I'm gonna interview people during the thing, and then like looking at it, I'm just like, there's no fucking way. It's so much chaos. I'm not gonna do any of that.
That would have been sick. I think that would have been a very cool idea. You would have had a lot of people tuning in because the coverage. I mean, like every time I log on to Instagram for the past week, it's like Don, this,
Right.
that, New York. It's like, gee, like everyone was there. It's crazy, man.
Yeah. It's the homecoming or yeah, the like high school reunion for the whole industry to come together. I marked it
Yeah,
like months ago, dude. I was like, I'm going. And then this like career change happens and I can't afford to do a New York trip right now. But
yeah.
we'll
Well,
get
I
there
don't know
next year, brother.
I
If
don't
there is
know
a
if
next
he's
year, Austin.
Yep. He did make the announcement at the event. I don't know if he's said it publicly online yet, but he wants to do an Austin Dawn of the Street. Well, whatever. I don't know if he's going to call it Dawn of the Street still, but he wants to take it to Texas.
Yeah, you got to be like ranger of the streets if you're in Texas. You know? Like it can't be Dawn of the streets. That's a very New York thing.
Dawn of the Ranch.
Yeah, Dawn of the ranch. Dawn of the prairie.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I hope I hope I can see you there. But live streaming it and doing interviews on the side would be very cool. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, Fu told me that he would love to see me at events with a little booth and then just have a rotating podcast. Like anybody can just come and sit and talk. And I was like, that's a really fun idea. And I want to get to the position where I can afford to do that. Because at this point, this isn't a money making adventure. This is like a passion project. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe, maybe there's somebody listening that's like, we got to make that happen. And then
Well,
help me make it happen.
I hope one of the outlets would be hyped on that. Just put a little watermark in the corner or whatever. But dude,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, shit, I'll pay for one of your meals if you
Let's
want to
go.
come out. I'll
Yeah,
sponsor that.
that's great.
Yeah, that'd
And
be
dude, like
awesome.
honestly, the other piece is like for the past 2.5 years, I've been living on Jamil Damji's schedule, like 6 days a week. I had like we went like 6 months where it was 7 days a week, just on call. So like no, I can't really make plans without it being a thing.
Ah,
I might miss this and then he'll, it's a thing. And so the boundaries were very limited and
yep,
then eventually I was like, all right, Sundays, I don't exist to you. And then even
nice.
that became a loose boundary. And so I'm very excited to like be in control of my own calendar and my own life. And if I want to go somewhere like down to the streets, I'll be able to fucking do it for the first time in years. So life is about to be real good. I tell you. What are you looking forward to? What are you excited about?
Nice. Yeah, we're losing connection here. Is that me or you?
I think it's you. But it could be me. I seem to be pretty crispy still. Let's pause.
It says recording error over here.
Okay, we'll pause real quick and come back. And we're back.
Okay,
And we're
yeah,
back.
here we
But
are.
the question is, Scott Marceau, what are you looking forward to in life right now?
What am I looking forward to? I put brakes on my bike.
Nice.
I put brakes on my bike, and I had a foot tall seat post for the event just so I could comfortably pedal around the city. The brakes will stay on for a little bit. The seat post, I'll put on my normal seat post. That thing's pretty wild, but I'm looking forward to riding more BMX. I'm looking forward to shooting more BMX and other stuff. I'm honestly, it sounds weird, but I'm looking forward to not traveling as much. I feel
Yeah.
like this year has been just insane with all the traveling, team trips, international trips, family trips, weekend trips. I really need to buckle down and stay at home and just get some personal projects done. I'm sitting on so
Oh
many
yeah.
photos that I want to put out in little books or even just Instagram posts, but like it's like nonstop, man. So I'm really looking forward to like being in one place for at least like a month or two at a time. It just feels like I haven't been doing that. So getting some personal projects done. I'm really looking forward to that.
Isn't it funny how that works? Like if you don't travel for a while, you're like, I got to get out of here and go travel. And then when you're traveling, you're like, I got to stay home. It's
Yeah.
funny how it works.
I've never felt like this because I usually love traveling and going different places. But at this point, it's like, geez, man, like I just need to stay still for a little bit and put in some serious computer and printer time
That's
and just
real.
put some work out. Yeah, I have a lot of film photos that I've never done anything with, and I have ideas. I just need the time and the focus at this point.
You mentioned being stoked on, just riding BMX and shooting it. Considering how long you've been doing it, what do you think it is that gets you to stay motivated?
Well, I don't. I'm sure I talked about the new gear I got at the beginning of the year, but being able to shoot high speed sync, I tell everyone who understands when you can shoot high speed sync, it's like a game changer. It's a whole new level of photography. There's no motion blur, there's no spoke blur. It is so sharp, it's so crispy. It's just exciting to be able to light scenes at full shutter speeds. It's
Hell
so
yeah.
unreal. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been really hyped on telephoto zoom. Yeah, it's just
Why?
it's
Let's go into that. Why are you hyped on telephoto zooms right now? Like the
I
70 to 200, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
7200 zoomed into 200, wide open at 2.8. Just the really shallow depth of field you can get, the compression of the scene, the further away I can get from the action and using a telephoto zoom is just like there's so much creative freedom
True.
with
It
like
it like
foreground
changes the whole
elements.
canvas,
Yeah. Yeah, it's very exciting. Like honestly, I've been shooting either fully zoom 200 or fisheye 15, and there you go. That's the one.
That's the one. It's a
I
monster.
honestly, some of my favorite video shots are just tripod telephoto zoom, like
Mhm.
just like some action, like very small action, like barely seen in the whole scene out there.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
are you talking for like, I guess obviously it's for anything. I think if you told me I had to shoot all the way zoomed in 200, I would just be focusing on like little details or damn, because you got to be far away if you're going to capture a whole setup, like legit
Yeah.
very far, like 200
Yeah.
meters far, which is wild to
Well,
think about.
I mean, I don't always have to be that far, but if I want to, like, I love shooting wide scenes, like say a 50 millimeter standard lens. I like to take in like all the buildings, the surrounding area, a little bit of sky, people, whatever there is.
Yeah.
But to be able to like zoom in and use shallow depth of field to really like pinpoint the action, like that's a dream of mine, and that's some of my favorite setups. So when I can actually achieve that, like when I can get really far away and still have the action like perceivable in a small part of the frame, like that's my dream setup.
Yeah, and then I mean, if you're shooting it at f2.8, how are you focusing? Are you using autofocus
Well,
or are you getting them to pose where the action is?
I'm not someone I'm not like a will you stand there while I focus type thing. I kind of look at the ground or an object where I know the action's going to be, and I can use my like live view screen to zoom in 15 times and focus pinpoint.
Yeah,
With on my new camera, it's not an optical view piece, it's a digital view piece. So there's no like um, uh, there's no difference in the optics. It's what you see on the screen is what you get. Whereas like a traditional DSLR, you're looking through the viewfinder,
right.
and that has its own focus point, a diopter adjustment. So when I'm focusing on the screen itself, it's like that's the focus.
That's
There's
exactly what
no
you're getting. Yeah.
there's no difference in the viewfinder because I'm looking right at the final image.
Yeah.
So I can get really, really pinpoint precise focusing, and that really does help too, especially when I'm shooting at 2.8 wide open. I need that.
That's I was just thinking about it from that far away, and like somebody's doing a trick down a stair set over a rail or something. Like at 2.8, you're only gonna get like 4 steps in focus, maybe 3. Like you got to be pretty
Yeah.
precise.
Yeah, but that's what I love now, and
Yeah, that's cool. Good for you.
yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting.
I think that's pretty good. Thank you for covering Dawn of the Streets.
Yes.
And thanks for having those glorious chops, dude. It's fantastic.
I'm gonna trim them soon. I'm gonna cut all my hair, I think, like pretty soon.
Well, you look good either way. I just got a haircut, and the first time in my life, they were like, "Do you want to have your eyebrows trimmed?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And then now my eyebrows look fucking weird. I catch myself in the mirror. I'm like, ugh, what the fuck?
Let me see. Let me get close. Weird. No, they look great. I have very thin eyebrows, so I can't do much to mess with them. I don't.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. I was like, does Scott trim his eyebrows? Because
no,
that's my first time.
My sister makes fun of. I have a few like wild eyebrows. I call them wisdom brows, and they kind of just point whatever direction they want.
You are like a mythical creature, dude. The amount of feedback that we got from the first one, where it's like, dude, Scott's an encyclopedia.
Nice.
Pretty awesome.
That's an honor. I love encyclopedias too. I have a pretty solid collection of encyclopedias.
I love encyclopedias, bro.
I do. Those and atlases.
I don't think it's an atlas, but a globe. That's definitely not an atlas, but I would like a globe. That sounds cool.
Yes, I see globes often, but I haven't chosen one yet. And also, they take up a lot of space, and I don't really have much of that at home.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
But like a topographical globe where you can see the mountain ranges and stuff.
Feel it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm very excited because like moving into this new place at the end of this month, I'm not gonna have this like brick wall, which I really like this brick wall, but I'm just gonna be in a regular ass room. And I got to get creative with decorating and stuff. But anyway, you're at your family's house. Go enjoy family time. Thank you for taking this hour with us. And
I'm going to shout out. Oh, that's my mom.
Shout out, Mom.
That's Susan.
Hi, Susan.
Jenny, my girlfriend.
Hello.
Lulu, the dog, running around here.
Let's go.
Yo, that's the family
cool.
right now.
That's good. Enjoy it.
All right. Thanks, Bobby. Good talking to you.
Thank you, man. Adios.
Adios.
Well, that was that. All right. Pretty good. Nice and quick. Yeah. Go vote.